Ladies and gentlemen, let's get real. There will be moments in life when you feel invisible. Moments when it seems like nobody cares about you, your struggles, your dreams, or your pain. But I'm here to tell you something today that's okay. Because the most important person who needs to care about you is you. You see, we often get caught up waiting for someone else to come along and lift us up, to see our worth, to fight for us when life gets hard. But here's the truth: you are responsible for your own journey. The power to change your life doesn't rest in anyone else's hands. It rests in yours. You have to make the decision to show up for yourself every single day, even when it feels like no one is watching. Even when it feels like no one cares, you have to care enough to take the first step. Now, I know that's not always easy. Life has a way of throwing curveballs, doesn't it? People will disappoint you. They won't show up in the ways you hoped they would. But let me tell you something: every single setback is a setup for your comeback. When no one else believes in you, you've got to dig deep and believe in yourself. Every storm you survive makes you stronger, wiser, more resilient. And here's the beauty in all of this: when you stop waiting for someone else to validate you and start loving yourself, you unlock a power that no one can take away. The world doesn't owe you its care, its attention, or its applause. But you owe yourself grace, love, and compassion. Nobody may care about you the way you wish they would, but that's not what defines your worth. What defines your worth is the way you care about yourself, the way you lift yourself up after a fall, the way you honor your own dreams. When you do that, when you stand up for yourself, there's nothing you can't achieve. You become unstoppable. So don't waste your energy on the people who don't see you. Spend that energy on becoming the person you were meant to be. Show up for yourself, fight for yourself, and watch how everything changes. Let me tell you something: there's a profound truth about life that we often overlook. Everything you need to live a fulfilling life already exists within you. The power to transform your circumstances, the strength to overcome your challenges, and the wisdom to navigate your path, they're all there, waiting for you to tap into them. But here's the catch: no one else can do that for you. No one else can hand you the key to your own greatness. That's a responsibility you have to embrace fully and unapologetically. It's easy to fall into the trap of thinking that someone else will come to your rescue, that someone will notice your hard work and sweep you off your feet. We all dream of that moment when everything falls into place because someone finally sees us. But the reality is, life doesn't work that way. If you keep waiting for the world to give you permission to be great, you'll be waiting forever. You have to step up and take responsibility for your own life, your own happiness, and your own future. And that's not a burden, it's a gift. Think about it. The minute you realize that you are in control, that no one else holds the reins to your life, you unlock a kind of freedom that's priceless. You don't have to wait for approval. You don't have to wait for validation. You are the author of your own story. And with every decision you make, you have the power to write a new chapter. This means owning your choices, the good ones and the bad ones. Because taking responsibility is not just about celebrating your victories, it's about learning from your mistakes. It's about recognizing that even when things don't go as planned, you still have the power to pivot, to adjust, and to keep moving forward. Every misstep is an opportunity to grow, to understand yourself better, and to refine your path. But this also means facing the hard truth that no one else is responsible for your happiness. It's not your partner's job, your friend's job, or your boss's job to make you feel fulfilled. That's on you. And that's a tough pill to swallow because we're conditioned to believe that external things, other people's opinions, their affection, their recognition are what give us value. But the moment you shift your mindset, the moment you realize that your worth comes from within, you become unstoppable. You stop needing others to complete you because you realize you're already whole. This is the heart of self-empowerment. It's about recognizing that no one is coming to save you, but that's okay because you have everything you need to save yourself. When you take ownership of your life, you become the architect of your own destiny. You set your own standards for success, you define your own happiness, and you take steps every day toward the life you deserve. It's not always easy. There will be days when you feel discouraged, when doubt creeps in and you wonder if you're really capable of handling it all. But let me remind you of this: every great story, every great triumph begins with a person who took responsibility for their own life. They didn't wait for permission to be great. They stepped up, owned their power, and created their own opportunities. You can do the same. It's time to stop waiting. Time to stop looking outside of yourself for the answers and start trusting that the answers are already within you. Trust that you have what it takes to rise, to succeed, and to live the life you've always dreamed of. Because the truth is, no one else is responsible for making your dreams come true but you. Life has a way of testing us, pushing us to our limits in ways we never imagined. And in those moments when adversity strikes, it's easy to feel like the weight of the world is too much to bear. But here's the thing, resilience isn't something that shows up when everything is going well. It reveals itself when the storm hits, when the ground beneath you feels like it's crumbling, and you're left standing there, trying to figure out how to keep going. Resilience is born out of adversity, not in its absence. When life knocks you down, and it will, you have two choices. You can let that moment define you, or you can choose to rise, even when every part of you feels broken. The true test of your strength isn't whether or not you fall, it's what you do after the fall. Do you stay down, or do you get back up and keep moving forward? In the face of adversity, resilience is your greatest weapon. It's not just about surviving the hardship, it's about thriving despite it. It's about looking at your challenges head on and saying, I'm not going to let this break me. And that's not always easy. In fact, it can feel nearly impossible. There will be moments when you question whether you have what it takes to endure, whether you're strong enough to withstand the storm. But resilience is about believing in your capacity to overcome, even when it feels like the odds are stacked against you. One of the hardest things to accept is that adversity is part of the journey. No one escapes it. But here's the beauty in that it's through our struggles that we grow the most. It's when life forces us to our knees that we discover our own strength. Adversity has a way of showing you parts of yourself that you didn't know existed: the fighter, the survivor, the one who refuses to give up. Resilience isn't something you're born with. It's something you develop, one challenge at a time. Every time life throws you a curveball and you manage to get back up, even if you're bruised and battered, you become a little stronger, a little wiser. You start to realize that no matter what comes your way, you have the ability to push through. You learn to trust yourself, to trust that even in the darkest of times, you have the power to keep going. And the truth is, adversity teaches you things that success never can. It teaches you patience. It teaches you perseverance. It teaches you gratitude for the small victories. The moments when you manage to pull yourself up, inch by inch, until you're standing tall again. It teaches you to appreciate the strength it takes just to keep moving forward when everything in you wants to quit. But let's be clear, resilience isn't about pretending everything is fine. It's not about ignoring your pain or pushing your feelings aside. It's about facing your pain, sitting with it, and then choosing to rise anyway. It's about allowing yourself to feel everything, the hurt, the fear, the doubt, and still finding the courage to move forward. Resilience is messy. It's not a straight line from adversity to triumph. It's a series of ups and downs, of setbacks and comebacks, of moments when you fall apart and then slowly, steadily put yourself back together. Resilience also teaches you that you can't always control what happens to you, but you can control how you respond. You might not be able to stop the storm, but you can learn how to weather it. You can choose how to show up, how to fight, and how to keep going when the road gets tough. And that choice, that decision to keep moving forward, is where your power lies. In the end, resilience is about faith in yourself, faith in your ability to endure, and faith that no matter how difficult the journey gets, there is always something on the other side of adversity. There's growth, there's strength, there's wisdom. And when you come out on the other side, you'll realize that you are stronger than you ever thought possible. Every challenge you face is an opportunity to rise. Every setback is a chance to rebuild. And every moment of adversity is an invitation to discover just how resilient you truly are. Self-love is one of the most transformative forces in your life, but it's also one of the most misunderstood. Too often, we think of it as a luxury, something we'll get to later, after we've achieved our goals or made others happy. But self-love isn't a destination, it's the foundation. It's the ground on which everything else is built. If you're not rooted in self-love, everything else in your life becomes shaky, fragile, and dependent on things outside your control. But when you embrace self-love, you give yourself the permission to be whole, to be enough, just as you are. In a world that constantly tells you that you're not enough, whether it's through images of perfection, achievements to chase, or standards that feel impossible, self-love is the antidote. It's the quiet voice inside you that says you're already worthy. It's a recognition that your value doesn't come from what you do, what you look like, or what others think of you. It comes from simply being, from existing, from being the unique, unrepeatable person that you are. The thing about self-love is that it's not about ego or arrogance. It's not about thinking you're better than anyone else. It's about treating yourself with the same kindness, compassion, and respect that you offer to others. It's recognizing that you deserve love, not because you've earned it through some achievement or because you've been perfect, but simply because you're human. You're flawed, you make mistakes, and you have moments of doubt, but none of that diminishes your worth. Self-love is about having the courage to accept yourself fully, including the parts you don't always like. It's about saying, I am worthy of love, even with my imperfections, and when you do that, something incredible happens. You begin to free yourself from the need for external validation. You stop looking for other people to fill the holes inside you because you realize that only you can do that. Only you can give yourself the love and acceptance you're searching for. This doesn't mean you'll never seek approval or validation from others. We all crave connection and affirmation. It's part of being human. But self-love teaches you that your value isn't dependent on those things. You don't need someone else to tell you that you're enough because you already know it within yourself. And that's where true freedom lies. When you love yourself, you stop measuring your worth by how much others love you or by what you accomplish. You start living from a place of wholeness, of completeness, where you know that you're worthy of love and joy, regardless of the opinions of others. Another powerful aspect of self-love is the freedom to be yourself. When you truly love yourself, you stop trying to mold yourself into someone else's idea of who you should be. You stop hiding parts of yourself to fit in or gain approval. You start embracing all the things that make you unique, your quirks, your passions, your strengths, and even your vulnerabilities. Because self-love is about authenticity. It's about showing up in the world as your true self, unapologetically, and knowing that you're worthy just as you are. And here's the beautiful thing: when you love yourself, you become better at loving others. Self-love doesn't make you selfish, it makes you more compassionate. When you're at peace with yourself, you stop needing others to validate you or make you feel complete. And that allows you to love them without attachment or expectation. You're not loving them to fill a void, but because your heart is already full. Self-love creates a ripple effect. It radiates outward and impacts the way you connect with the world. You show up with more kindness, more empathy, and more joy. Self-love is an ongoing practice. It's not something you achieve once and then it's done. There will be days when it's hard to love yourself, when the doubts creep back in, and you feel like you're not enough. But that's okay. On those days, self-love means giving yourself permission to be human. It means forgiving yourself for your missteps, celebrating your small victories, and remembering that your worth is not defined by a single moment or a single failure. At its core, self-love is about choosing yourself over and over again every day. It's about knowing that you are deserving of love, not because of what you do or who you please, but simply because you exist. And when you live in that truth, everything else in your life begins to shift. You start to attract people and opportunities that honor and respect the love you have for yourself. You begin to create a life that reflects the deep, unwavering belief that you are enough, just as you are.